I told you in a breaking news segment over the weekend about this phenomenon we saw throughout the weekend, which was Trump literally bringing us to war, but not wanting to answer for it. Releasing little short edited videos, statements on social media, but not engaging with the press. And then what he normally does is whenever he's flying like from Mar-a-Lago to the White House or wherever, he'll talk with the press on Air Force One, or he'll get off of Air Force One, talk to the press on the tarmac. He was not doing that. He was running away from reporters as they were shouting questions at him. And then we got this clip, which I'll show you in just a second. But first, here's reporting from Caitlin Collins.
As a White House reporter, it's pretty notable the president did not gaggle with reporters on Air Force One. Typically, on Sundays when he's heading back from his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, he will come back on the plane and speak with reporters, take their questions, especially after such a notable moment as the major foreign policy decision that he made over the weekend. For example, you'll remember after the capture of Maduro in Venezuela, we heard from the president, the Secretary of State, and other top officials on their reasoning, on their rationale, and what is going to happen next.
So then you're thinking, well, surely over the weekend at some point he talked to the press. Oh, wait, you're right. He did say this.
What are the objectives for Iran? President, who do you want to lead Iran? Mr. President, who are you? Talk us about Iran, Mr. President. We take questions on Iran. Mr. President, what's your message to the families of...
Oh, you didn't hear it? Let me tell you. Please take questions on Iran was the question or the statement. Trump's response is unbelievable statues in the Rose Garden that he's constructing. This is somehow he found a way to create a worse moment than them going, sir, how are you dealing with the assassination of Charlie Kirk? And him going, yeah. Look at the ballroom. This ballroom's going to be right here. Now he has a worse moment where about war, they go, please answer questions about Iran. And he talks about how there's new statues being constructed in the Rose Garden at the White House. And then walks away. And he goes, and he stands there to listen to what they're asking. Like as if they're going to go, really? Tell us about the statues. And of course they keep bringing it up Iran, and then he walks away. Now, as of when we're doing the show, it looks like he is holding an event. Maybe he'll take questions. Maybe he won't. But this was one clip I pulled before we went live.
See that nice drape?
This is a Medal of Honor event. At this event, as I'll show you later, he says he always wanted to get the Medal of Honor. You know, for soldiers who risk it all for our country. He wanted that. Just the quickest pause for the video amid all of this chaos. If you do appreciate these updates, please click the subscribe button, click the like button. Both of those are completely free, but subscribe is the most important to support what we do. Back to the video.
When that comes down, right now you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains.
He's talking about the drapes. He's talking about the actual drapes. Here, I showed you over the weekend this clip.
Lindo.
Wouldn't take questions there, but he got asked, what's your message for the families of the fallen, and walked away. In this clip, you can see there, we don't have to watch it, that it's so loud of the helicopter. So that's notable, and I think it gets at his fear of actually being pressed on the logic of this, because there really isn't much. Anna Paulina Luna was willing to take questions. That didn't go well. She's a Republican congresswoman.
About is that we will not put boots on the ground there, period. Case closed. We will not vote on having a war with Iran because as of right now, according to the plan, which I won't say too much on television, but according to the 3 objectives that this administration outlined, everything is going according to plan. And so if you are asked...
Okay, so she doesn't think that Congress should do its duty in approving or not approving of going to war because it's going to plan. But she can't tell you what the plan is. But there's 3 objectives. I know this is a dark subject, but just this reminds me exactly of that Office scene where he's doing an interview and he goes, they're interviewing this guy to be the new manager of the office. And he says, oh, I have a 3-point plan to completely improve the effectiveness of your office and whatever, and then, you know, triple the revenue in 1 year. And they're like, oh my gosh, what's the plan? He goes, I can't share the plan with you. I'll share it if you hire me. And they're like, but how do we even know you have a plan? He goes, oh, I have a plan. Okay, fine. I'll give you a part of it. Section 2B, highlight by alphabetical order or something like that. Like, restructure the filing system. Something so vague. That's what it is. He has a plan. It's a great plan, but he can't tell you the plan. Than this.
Members, there are multiple wounded. And again, it is not the intention of the U.S. government to invade. That is not what is happening. These are isolated, strategic, large-scale attacks. But again, there are
They're isolated, large-scale attacks. They're isolated and they're large-scale.
Negotiations that will take place, or at least open communication with the White House as soon as the president decides that he is willing or ready to talk. And that has developed in the last couple of hours. So that update will come hopefully later on this evening.
I'm sorry, you say it's not the intention of the U.S. government to invade? Did we not just invade?
We are not invading. Are you seeing boots on the ground there? Because I'm not. And I've been told directly by the State Department and the White House that that's not the intention.
I mean, we just killed the leader of the country. That's not... Okay.
Targeted strategic military strikes and invasions are two totally different things, according to military terminology.
They're calling it a war. The president has called it a war.
And targeted airstrikes
strategic strikes.
Didn't they say they've hit 2,000 targets? 2,000 targets? Is that isolated, limited military operation? Now, again, if you're, I know this is repetitive, but since this will be broken up into segments, I need to repeat all this, some of it. If this is a no boots on the ground situation, I hope, then what is Lindsey Graham going on about with regime change? Because you're not going to accomplish that just through striking everything. That doesn't make any sense. But if you put boots on the ground to facilitate the very complicated process of completely uprooting an entire government and replacing it with another U.S.-backed government, then now we're just in the whole quagmire everyone knows that we can't get in.
Strategic strikes, and according to the White House, and I just talked to them and talked to the Secretary of State, strategic strikes are not war.
Really? So if someone bombed America...
But Trump said there are casualties in war. Why did he say that?
Do you see boots on the ground?
War? Oh, wait, that makes no sense. So you're saying it has to be boots on the ground?
According to your own definition,
so that's your standard.
The regime of Iran has killed thousands of Americans and murdered them. So by definition, they've already declared war on the United States.
I know. I've had Shiite missiles raining down on me too. I know how terrible the Iranian regime is. We are not debating that they are a truly terrible regime. What we're talking about is the standard for the commander-in-chief to commit our sons and daughters in the military to war, and going to war when it is in the national interest, and making that case to America and going to Congress and getting approval for war. So you are saying this is a limited mission that is only bomb strikes, so there is no congressional authorization necessary. How is this different from when Joe Biden bombed the Houthi rebels in Yemen without congressional authorization, and you oppose that?
Oh, and then the clip cuts off. Oof. But you get the point. Yeah. I don't even know why they're arguing this when Trump already used the word war and has justified casualties by saying that's what happens in war. But then the real reason is they don't want to have to be on the record supporting it or not, because they want to see what happens. People who don't have any courage or moral backbone want to see how this all turns out, and then retroactively go, I supported it, or I was very skeptical. But if you actually have to vote in Congress on the issue, then that can be brought up whenever, forever. Scott Jennings posted, senior Trump administration officials telling me that credible intelligence indicated Iran planned preemptive missile strikes against U.S. military targets in the region and against civilian targets as well. Failure to act would have resulted in mass U.S. casualties, and that was immediately debunked by the network that he works for.
Yeah, Caitlin, just like most of the administration's explanations for why now, why was this operation against Iran launched now, this briefing happened in private, but we're told that Pentagon briefers did make a stark acknowledgement, and that was that no, there was no indication that Iran was preparing to preemptively strike U.S. bases in the region in anticipation of some sort of an attack from American and Israeli forces. And that's something that senior administration official had said on Saturday that...
So that was immediately contradicted. Again, just one lie after another. And then I saw this clip circulating. Do you remember whenever Zelensky was asked why he hasn't had an election? And it's because Ukraine's constitution doesn't allow for elections during wartime. And Trump, despite us having a different constitution that does require elections even during wartime, went, no elections during wartime. That sounds pretty nice.
Upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, and the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, just kidding. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
Funny. He's just being funny. You know, today I literally looked over at the guys and I went, well, it doesn't feel like an appropriate time to talk about the Epstein files. And then all of us went, oh. Not that that's what this was for, but I know that Trump likes that all of the news is being focused on something different. I do think he likes that. I'm not saying that's why this was happening, but I do think he likes that as a bonus element to it. Also, I saw the stock market going down, the Dow below 50,000, and it leads one to ask, does that mean now we can talk about the Epstein files? Pam Bondi.